alright. So we're Barry now. We're back on Cat Island. I just don't know how to feel. So it's either you become a cat and you stay on the island, or they kill you? This is crazy. Okay. So we did water and whiskey. Let's do tea. Oh, I'm so easy to predict, am I, Professor? Whatever. Oh. I just can't believe it. Okay, so the journal. Okay, it makes good. Alright, so we read the journal again of the previous researcher. I don't know if it's R.I.P. Brooke, so dead. But it looks like, once again, one of the cats is stealing the journal. How does the journal even get back into the tent every time? Alright, and we're in the danger zone again. And it's, Calico dude, whose name I can never remember. There's McMurphy. No Chungers this time? Trixie, that's it. McMurphy. Was I bitten? Damn it, I got bitten again! Why do they keep getting me bitten? So that I feel motivated to find? I mean, I gotta help them, right? You always gotta help them. Where's Chungers, though? Alright. The last one didn't get far. But okay, fine. We're still gonna work it on it. Great. Respect, jolly good show. We've gotta get to work. Alright. Oh, so shook. Are we gonna die again? That's what I wanna know. Why do the cats keep stealing my journal? God damn you cats. Loose lips sink ships. Alright. The professor. Okay, fine. Alright. We're 31%. Let's recon it first. Let's see if we got any new recons. Recon 6 and Recon 11. Alright, dude. Alright, let's not do a recon first. Let's do a romance first. Oh, we get Trixie this time. Or Floofy Butt. Let's go with Floofy Butt, because he was the option last time. So I feel like I owe it to him. I'm not sure what to expect. I've come to the forest of Floofy Butt for what I assumed would be a pleasant way to spend my afternoon off work, but I've now discovered that he's billing it as an informative afternoon of instruction and practical participation. That sounds suspiciously like a lecture to me. Oh well, Professor Popper would say, a scientist must keep an open mind. This is something I would normally do alone, but you strike me as a like-minded soul, interested in both gastronomic and anatomic pleasures. Perhaps now would be a good time to lay down the blanket I asked you to bring. We don't want to put that tender skin of yours under duress. I lay the blanket on the ground awkwardly and wonder where he's going with this. Relax, Barry. This won't usually take very long. Suddenly, without warning, there's a loud plop as a bird plummets out of the sky onto the blanket. Told you so. Oh my, it's dead? As a doornail. But what happened to it? Just the force field, of course. Now enough foolish questions, Barry. Let's get started, shall we? Just like the lectures from my uni. What exactly are we doing here, Floofy Butt? I told you. Don't use that ridiculous name. I prefer Major, if you please. What exactly are we doing here, Major? This is my little surprise. I'm a bird fancier. Oh, and you fancy your birds dead? Quite. All the better to practice my other pursuit. I know I'm going to regret asking this, but what pursuit would that be, Major? I'm a self-taught pathologist. You mean as in post-mortem? Somewhat rudimentary, don't you know? But I can now find my way around the innards of the average seagull with remarkable dexterity. Yes, well, whatever floats your boat. I'm interested in crossword puzzles myself. Not everyone's cup of tea, but it occupies a wet afternoon. Okay, back to the task at hand, Barry. I shall now begin the autopsy. Keep your wits about you. There will be questions at the end. Aha, I knew this was a lecture. Floofy Butt pings out a razor-sharp claw and begins going to town on the bird. Whoa, graphic, okay. Incision from sternum to base. On first examination, the skeleton appears to be typical. I note there is no break in the neck, indicating that the force field, rather than the fall, killed the bird. I feel rather queasy. Oh, really? Yes, point of interest. Sometimes the initial zap the bird receives from flying into the force field merely stuns them, and it is the impact of the fall which provides the fatal blow. This chap, however, appears to have suffered cardiac arrest. You can see from the size, or lack thereof, of the heart that even a minor jolt could be enough to induce seizure. Having removed the tiny organ, Major has now begun digging around inside the carcass as though rummaging. Whatever. Now removing entrails for further examination. Oh, do get a better look, Barry. It's rather revealing. I can see something in the stomach sac. Stomach sac? It looks like. Oh my, it's gold. Our lucky day, Barry. Have a look. It's some kind of nugget. No thank you, Major. I'm not in the mood for playing with the contents of a seagull's stomach. Don't be ridiculous. This is not a game, Barry. May I remind you that we are in the middle of a very serious post-mortem, and I expect you, as my assistant, to maintain professionalism. It's so small, it sort of looks like a... Cripes, is it? It's a tooth. Major, it's a gold tooth. Ah, good find. You're natural. Can't help but wonder why a seagull would have a gold tooth in its stomach. Presumably, Major, this is from the mouth of a human. I think you're probably right. So how did it get in the seagull? What an inquiring mind. You would make an excellent apprentice. If you like, I could pass on to you the skills I have acquired. That would be a feather in your cap, eh? I resign myself to the fact that he's not going to draw into speculation. Okay, well, I'll bear that in mind, Major. I don't have the heart to tell him that I came top of my class at veterinary surgery. And now, to the victor, the spoils. Don't be shy, I've already called. Oh gosh, do you mean? Of course, tuck in, we won't stand on ceremony here. It's a good one too, plenty of fat. I have to think fast. Do I really want to eat raw seagull carved up by a cat on the forest floor? Alright, so to have a successful date, I feel like you're supposed to just agree with everything. So let's see what happens. Oh, silly me, I already had lunch before we came out, but it looks so delicious that I simply must try a bit. A tiny bit. A morsel. Very well, Barry. Then I shall leave you the tastiest part of all. The liver. The cat deftly tears an organ out of a carcass and presents it to me on a flat paw. Very fatty. Oh wow, that's too much, Major. I mean, too generous. As tempted as I am, I simply couldn't. Nonsense, Barry. I insist. I would feel a very poor host indeed if my guest refused my hospitality. Okay, Barry, you can do this. Think of it as liver and onions, the way Mom makes it. Okay, breathe. Don't think about it. Just take it and swallow it whole like an iron pill. I'm really going to enjoy this seagull liver. I snatch it out of the cat's paw and it's in my mouth before my brain can catch up. Oh no. It's in my throat. It's lodged in my throat. I can't swallow it. What do? How do I... Crikey, that was a close call. I catch the organ in my clenched fist and simultaneously give Floofy Butt the thumbs up. Exquisite. My compliments to the cat. Quite so. Next time, make sure you have an empty stomach. Unlike this chap, eh? Floofy Butt holds up the gold tooth and laughs. I try to force a laugh, but I'm suddenly overwhelmed with nausea. I've had a truly lovely time here, Major, but I'm afraid I must go now. So soon! Sadly so. Work calls. Well, I suppose that can't be helped, but let's do this again soon, eh? Yes, of course. Soon. I can hardly wait. Feeling the slimy, sticky mess clinging to my hand, I curse myself for not bringing my antiseptic gel. Next time, I will be prepared. We are eating cat livers. Alright. We romanced. Let's romance again. Floofy Butt. Floofy Butt. Floofy Butt. Oh, do hold your hand still. Alright. Do hold your hand still, Barry. I can hardly see a thing with you shaking like that. I hold the binoculars stable in front of Floofy Butt's tiny cat face. He looks ridiculous. It's like you're not even trying, Barry. You're shaking like a leaf. I'll have you know I have the keen eyes of a goat. Goats aren't exactly known for their vision, Major. That's just because the world is full of ignorami. Well, what can you see? I can only see a couple of mulers lazing about, of course, scratching at their fleas. Filthy things, I tell you. Oh, so it looks like we're looking into the forbidden area. One of the bigger ones is emptying its bladder. That could mean that they do eat and drink on a regular schedule. And if we were able to find out where their water supply is, we could lace it with a mild sedative and bring the incapacitated sample to the beach. And please don't finish that sentence. No cats will be harmed during this mission. Oh, please, the subject will not be harmed. Just slightly bewildered for a day or two. But why, Major? Well, to examine it for a start, I should like to see how they react when one of theirs goes missing for a change. Major, I only agreed to help you with this on the promise that you will not attempt to exact any kind of retribution on the elders. Examination is one thing, but if you can't keep your end of the deal, then I'm sorry. But I'm going to have to withdraw. Okay. I'll just observe. I replaced the binoculars in front of Floofy Butt's keen goat eyes. Well, what do we have here? Found something? I do believe I have. There's a few new elders here who seem to be meditating. Meditating? Are you sure they're not just sleeping? Take a look, will you? Tell me they aren't meditating. Oh. I adjust the binoculars to suit my eyes and am quite taken aback by what I see. Floofy Butt is right. The cats aren't sleeping. They're sitting in a circle around what is by far one of the stranger landmarks on the island, a large state of Bastet. Professor Pauper has always dodged my questions about what on earth a statue of the Egyptian cat goddess of war is doing on this island. I'm even more intrigued now. The cats seem to be listening, or contemplating, or even meditating. Well, Major, I'm sure there's a perfectly good explanation for their behavior. Cats often behave quite strangely, I've found. Well, there's strange and then there's strange. And my experience teaches me that the type of strangeness that this class are afflicted with is beyond acceptable. I believe the only way to protect us all is total disassociation. Major, do you hear yourself? We're here practically trespassing on their territory so that you can spy on them while they're doing whatever it is they're doing. And you want disassociation from them? One must know one's enemy, Barry. How are they your enemy, Major? They've never done anything to you. Oh no, those mulers are wholly responsible for the problems on this cursed island, and it's about time they were held accountable. They are the carriers of the cat virus. If it weren't for them, you wouldn't be affected with the illness. Oh, is that so? Because I distinctly remember it was you lot who deliberately put me in danger in the first place. The elders are cats. Just cats. Just cats, eh? Oh, I see. I realize what I've just said, and although I didn't intend it the way the Major has taken it, I can see how wounded he is. I feel conflicted. On the one hand, I want to take a stand against his bigotry. It is not helping our progress, and I believe it may end up ruining our friendship. On the other hand, I know he has a good heart. As Trixie says, he's just stuck in his ways, and it would be wrong of me to start pushing my views onto him. Perhaps I can lead by example and practice a little more tolerance myself. Oh, come on, Major, I didn't mean it that way. You know I have the highest regard for all cats, and particularly you. And I for you, Barry. However, I must say find it increasingly difficult to fathom how such an intelligent person as yourself fails to recognize such obvious truths. Okay, perhaps I wasn't giving you a fair hearing. Maybe my own opinions got in the way. So go on then, you have my full attention. Teach me, Major. Well, that's more like it. He pulls himself up and fluffs out his fur, gives him an air of self-importance, so much so that, in spite of my promise to be open-minded, I'm already feeling a bit irritated. You see, what you and the other pedestrian-minded inhabitants of this island world do not do is look at the undeniable evidence that this species is the cause of all our problems. The evidence being, well, firstly, they have segregated themselves from us and created a ghetto where we have been made unwelcome. That is an act of hostility. I want to point out they haven't created anything. They have always been there, but I'm practicing tact and diplomacy. Secondly, they carry the virus. Feline transitional gene. Quite. They are trying to infect everyone. Make us all like them, and they will have their way too if we don't fight back. I bite my tongue and resist telling him that it is far more likely that they are not trying to infect anyone. They simply want to live and let live. They probably don't even understand the effect their body fluids have on other species. Thirdly, it should be obvious to everyone that they made no attempts whatsoever to learn our language. If they were congenial towards us, they would surely have tried to communicate with us by now. I try to keep my voice amicable. I know how frustrating it is when you can't make yourself understood, Major. Very frustrating. I'm glad you see that, Barry. At least I have one ally in all of this. You know what, Major? I'll bet with your superior intellect and my research skills, we might be able to find a way to learn their language. Why on earth would we want to do that? To communicate. Have you lost your mind, Barry? To say nothing of your sense of smell? I doubt they have anything worthwhile to communicate. They are no more to us than an insect under a microscope. Oh, the smell, however, that is rather overpowering. Shall we call it a day here and go somewhere where the air is more pleasant for us for our lunch? I'm feeling very uncomfortable now, and I want to get away to think. Actually, Major, I have to get back. I'm on feeding duty today. If you like, I can put something by for you. Very well, I shall call by the mess tent later. As I make my way back to camp, I kept feeling like I ought to have handled this differently. I wonder if, honestly, it may have made more progress with fluid diplomacy. Fuck! I picked the wrong thing! Should have argued. Damn it. Alright, let's do a research. Oh, research 1 is open. A special subject. I wonder if it's our previous cat life. Alright, we're following the professor to the research lab in the forest. He takes me to an area around the back. This is our brave little nugget Ravenpaw. She has to be isolated here, don't you, Missy? And picks up a tiny black cat that's sleeping inside. Such a good girl, aren't you? We keep her here, away from the others, because the poor thing is very unwell. Can you see this nasty rash? It's red and swollen. Rimple looks at me with the big watery eyes, one blue, one brown. They're probably watering because of the medication she's on, but it looks as if she's pleading with me. She doesn't seem to be able to eat without assistance either, poor thing. We've been treating her the best we can, but I'm not sure if she'll make it. Perhaps not even to the end of the week. I have my fingers crossed, though. We don't give up on any of these cats, do we, Ravenpaw? No, we don't. We're going to try and get you all better. She's such a pretty cat. Her eyes are enchanting, aren't they? She's a very pretty cat indeed, and she knows it, too. You can tell. You know what a pretty thing you are, don't you? I reach out to stroke Ravenpaw, but she struggles away from my hand. Ah, she's getting cranky. I think we've kept Grumpy Pants here awake for too long enough. He puts her gently into the cage and locks it shut. Ravenpaw seems to fall asleep instantly. I hope I didn't distress her. Of course not, Barry. She's usually very wary of humans before she gets to know them. When I first found the poor thing on the beach, she almost scratched my eyes out in spite of the terrible, fragile state she was in. The professor smiles at the memory. Such a little trooper. She was half dead at first. She's gotten a little better since then. I honestly wouldn't be surprised. She pulled through this. He won't be able to see to her personally. He's got extra work to do. Now it's our job to take care of the cat. Splendid. Alright. Change her dressing. I can do that. Hello, pretty kitty. Very sorry. A small cat lets out a sad meow as I lift her out of the cage. She seems to know the routine. We introduce ourselves. Okay. Medication. The syringe is stiff and it takes longer than... Ah, poor little thing. McMurphy is one of the coolest people. I mean, I was a little wary at first. He has that Irish charm that's so hard to resist. The tiny cat's head spins to look up at me. How do you know he's Irish? My heart lurches into my throat. Have you got it? You have, haven't you? You're sick. You've got the sickness. I have a million questions running through my head, but I am unable to speak. Listen to me, human. You must help me. A sudden jolt to my senses. I am. I'm trying to help you, Ravenpaw. Please, don't use the cream on me. It burns. It gives me these red patches. I know it hurts, but I have to rub it into your wounds. Those red patches will get dry and itchy and even infected otherwise. No, please. I beg you, human. That stuff doesn't help. It doesn't. It hurts. I know it feels that way, but it's helping you, I promise. The professor's been caring for you so thoroughly since he found you. I'd get the sack if your treatment went downhill now. That man has only ever hurt me. I'm taken aback. The professor cares for you very much and only wants you to get better. The cat turns her face away as if she's given up hope. It pulls at my heartstrings, and I pause for a moment. Hell no, we ain't continuing. We'll believe that cat. Thank you, human. Alright. Of course we believe Ravenpaw. Why wouldn't we? Secret desires? Very interesting. Alright. Oh, we gotta hit the heart. Okay. Alright, let's rest. Lovely. What's available for recon? So it's this letter thing and the supplies thing. Let's do a romance instead. With the major. Alright, so we're going by the danger zone again. Water under the bridge because we disagreed. Okay. Completely silent. Alright, so we're... which has a large hollow in it. Good God, man, are you digging a escaper? Alright, large object. Go into the tree. Cold metal adornments and It's an old-fashioned treasure chest. Alright. Well, open it, my dear. You needn't worry about the lock. Oh, my giddy aunt. My giddy aunt. Shiny things, jewelry, gems, coins, trinkets, ornaments, bauble, curios. Allow me to regale you, human, with my vast adventures and conquests. I settle down and allow the Major's voice to wash over me as I play with some of the items of frippery from the chest. Ah, that coin you're holding. That's a very interesting story attached to that. Do you know how old it is, Barry? I do believe the date on it should still be legible. I remember the night I found it. I'd gone for a walk along the beach. It was blustery and dark. I feel for the first time how exhausted I am. The walk has sapped me of all my energy. And as I fought with the elements, I look ahead and notice the sky is much darker. I'm laying down now. Laying down, although I don't remember doing so. Valiant and victorious to thunderous applause. I hear a low grumbling sound. Thunder? And a flashing behind my now closed eyes. Surely it's a storm, but there's no rain. That's odd. No wet. Just warm and dry, and hard to breathe. And bellow defiantly, you cannot have them. But the mulers were already encircling. I should really get up now. Oh, it seems my eyes won't open. That's a pity. As I bit into the still beating heart. I do believe I'm paralyzed. That is a shame. I try to move my fingers. Nope, they're not listening to me. What is going on here? Wake up. We have to get you out of here this instant. Up you get. That's it. Come on. As I come to, the world looks dark and distorted. I must be walking because trees are passing my line of vision. My hands hurt. I look down at them, and they are pressed firmly to the earth, one moving in front of the other. I must be crawling? I don't know how much time has passed, but I wake up on the sand. I inspect my blistering hands. Floofy Butt is sitting next to me, facing the sea. Did I dream all that? Oh, you're awake. No, I'm afraid you weren't dreaming. What happened? It was my fault. I took you too close to the danger zone, and in your current state, you couldn't handle it. In my current state? Your feline transition is still in its early stages. It seems to be progressing particularly slowly in you. So I'm still very vulnerable to the effects of the Elder territory? Quite. I was foolish. I didn't think I was too interested in myself. Oh, I didn't think I was too interested in myself, my stories, my treasure, to protect you properly. Please forgive me. Oh, it's okay, Major. Don't upset yourself. I had a lot of fun until the whole blackout thing. Floofy Butt looks generally pleased. Really? I have been told I am a good recounter. One of the best. How much did you hear? I'm sorry? How many of my anecdotes did you hear before you succumbed? I'd be happy to repeat anything you missed. Oh, no, really, Major. I'm fairly certain I heard them all. Well, if you're quite sure, I am. Besides, I think I have a migraine coming on. Well, in that case, you must allow me to nurse you until you are fully recovered. Okay, Major, it's a deal. Major? Yes. Why do I have earrings in my hair? I had to pelt you with jewelry to get you to wake up. Oh, of course. If you don't mind, Major, I think I need to get back to sleep. I lay down on the warm sand and curl into a ball. I'll be here when you wake up. I drift off and dream that I'm a cat. Going back in. What you got first, Major? Alright, so the treasure chest has been moved and we've been summoned. So he wants us to go on an adventure with him. And we will get a reward. Oh. So we're looking at a pair of pearls. The filthy bottle sticks out like a sore thumb amongst the shiny baubles Floofy usually likes to collect. Oh, that heavens! I forgot about that thing. It might suit you. If you shake it, you will hear something rattling about in there. I do believe it contains a note or script of some kind. Silly, really. I did get it into my head to find a way to open that bottle, but the cork is wedged tight. I choose this to start my collection, Major. Really? That old thing? But I can tell he's absolutely delighted. Yes, and I have an idea how to open it. Go on. You have my attention. Smash open the Smash open the bottle. I have a feeling the real treasure is this. I carefully pick the parchment from amongst the shard of glass and cast a cursory eye over the faded scribbles. A genuine message in a bottle. This could fill in so many of the blanks about the history of this place. A piece of paper? Oh, Major, this is not just a piece of paper. This is better than anything I could have hoped for. Well, if that's what you deem to be a treasure, then please be my guest. Thank you so much, Major. I grin from ear to ear. I must go now, though. I'm late for lunch duty. I excitedly kissed Floofy Butt on his furry head before dashing back to base. What does the paper say, Barry? Barry, you're the worst. Hiding this from us. Will the recon tell us what it says? Let's see, there was recon 13. Yes! Alright, the ink is surprisingly well preserved. The only obstacle to my understanding of this letter is deciphering the scrawling scribble. Some words I can make out. Punished, God, and presumably the signature at the bottom. Bill. I can make out some other words, but they appear to be badly misspelled or possibly not even English, but some other hybrid language. Maybe colloquial? I spend an hour or two, though it feels much longer, attempting to translate each character and syllable into my notepad. I obsessively write and rewrite words until a sentence takes shape, and I am eventually left with something quite legible. Once I am satisfied that each word is correct and each sentence has meaning, I read it through from beginning to end. To whoever finds this bottled message, we have been cursed. We be judged for our sins. We wrecked on the rocks. I couldn't tell you where we be, but I think it is hell. The cats, they are everywhere, and they won't forgive us. They know what we done. My guts burned for food. I had no choice. I had to eat. I regret it now. God help me, I do. Now I am cursed, and the boys are too. The cats are eating us slowly from the inside. It burns more than hunger. It burns me rotten. They stare at me all the time with their yellow eyes. They know what we done. They are getting retribution. Justice. God help me. I pray for death. If you find yourself in the path of the infinite island, turn back. Don't do what we done. Leave them. This is their island. I need my little Lucy to know I love her. I am sorry, Petal. Bill. I read it again. And then again, but it seems the more I read it, the less it makes sense to me. I wonder if reading aloud might help me to understand, like in school. We have been cursed. We be judged for our sins. We wrecked on the rocks. So their ship crashed and they survived. I'm not sure if they're very lucky or very unlucky. The Infinite Island. I've never heard anyone refer to this place as the Infinite Island before. Most people call it Cat Island or the Verloren Island, formerly. Perhaps this crew were the first humans to step foot on this place. This letter seems to be at least 100 years old, and the cats were pretty well established then, by the sounds of things. The cats in this note must be the elders. I suddenly feel another pang for sympathy for Bill and the crew. I know how frightening the elders could be. I decide not to tell Floofy Butt about the contents of his gift. It would only add to his paranoia. I instead promised myself that I will look into this further another time. Alright, so it's probably the pirates, right? From McSorley's Not McSorley, whatever the heck the Irish cat's name is. So he took us to the pirate ship. And so we're drawing, daydreaming. Alright, so Irish cat brought us to this pirate ship. Presumably this is also the pirates, right? And they came on the island, and then they presumably ate the cats, and then the cats ate them from the inside, made them sick. Why is he avoiding us? I thought our dates went so well. I hear a long yowling sound coming from the direction. Then, to my surprise, Purrfect lets out a similar call. Sorry, Barry, I really must go. Oh, I see. The penny finally drops and I realize he has a date with another cat. I feel rather embarrassed. Why, Major? I'm pleased for you. Really? Of course. I must say I'm glad to have your blessing, Barry. I believe you and I have become good chums over the time we've spent together here. I rather think you would like my new companion. They are so forward-thinking, and they always endeavor to challenge my lazy... Damn it! I should have challenged him instead of just agreeing, being diplomatic. But you know, you challenge the princess cat, and you get nowhere with it. And so I thought, I shouldn't challenge the tough cat. And I ruined it. Ruined it! Let's see what the supplies are all about then. Murderers! A few extra crates. Alright, he's clearly an old hand at this. Alright, so he's telling us how to move the crates. He has never gone to college. Quite far, really. Do no good poking your nose into other people's business. Wow, you live with Dolem cats. Learn from them. All cats know curiosity kills them. What's the matter? Cat got your tongue? And he laughs even harder. We were playing cat and mouse, Dad. But what he said, best take what he says with a pinch of salt. A lot more going on between them. Be given it, but all three men look at me and I just slink away. Alright, so they were not answering. They just poked fun at us for being a cat because they know they're gonna fucking shoot us in the head again and then dump our body in the water. Our cat body. Alright, let's do the recon again. Recon 6. Sure. I know it by heart, but I'm nervous. I've been watching long enough to know what the routine is. So the boat arrives at 1300 hours. Zane, always alone, talks to the older man, Bob, who hands over the post. While the younger of the two, Joe, loads up the dolly with boxes of supplies. Zane puts the envelopes, never more than 3, into the breast pocket of his jacket. That solves the mystery of why he always overdresses whenever the boat comes in. He then wheels the dolly to the mess tents and unloads the food supplies, then to the lab and unloads the medical supplies, then to the storage hut where he unloads the remaining packages and leaves the dolly. Next he goes to Professor Popper's tent. If the professor is in, he hands over 2 of the envelopes, keeping the third, his puzzler, in his jacket pocket. If, however, the professor is in his tent, Zane makes his way down to his chair on the dock, drapes his jacket over the back of it, spends the afternoon on his puzzles before going back again in the evening to deliver the professor's mail. He never lets the envelopes out of his jacket pocket or the jacket out of his sight. So my only opportunity would be to pickpocket the security guard when he takes his jacket off, but that relies on Professor Pauper not being in his tent. Luckily, I've ensured, with the help of my feline friends, that the professor will be held up during his out-of-grounds inspection. Usually, Pauper just meanders around the inner perimeter of the base camp area and checks that all is well. Most days everything is, but today Kibbles and Trixie have staged a little rumpus that will engage him for just long enough to miss Zane's delivery. He is, of course, sat in his usual place, jacket draped over his chair. "Hi there, Zane." 127. "I suppose we're on first-name terms now. I have a little something for you." Zane frowns, but does not look at me. His eyes are instead where they always are, on his crossword. "I've made you a puzzle." He eyes me skeptically. "A crossword, to be exact. It's pretty tricky, if I do say so myself. I created the puzzle using all of the cats' general knowledge. Major and McMurphy thought of some particularly treacherous teasers, while Kibbles and Trixie offered some great obscure pop culture questions. Snooty Booty was mostly just trying to get cat treats out of my pocket." I hand the paper to Zane, who's still frowning. "This Dick's having a whale of a time. Is this a joke?" "Oh, it gets harder." Zane peers over the crossword. "Why did you make this for me?" "Well, you know how bored I get, and I like you, Zane." Zane breaks up into the first smile I've seen on his face, although small and slightly uncomfortable looking. "I don't have anything for you." "Yes, he's warming to me. The plan is going spiffingly." "Oh, don't worry about that. All I want for you is to complete it." I make my hands into a heart shape while Zane is distracted. I feel stupid, but McMurphy insisted that would be my signal for him to strike, and sure enough, along he slinks, cool as anything. He winds his feline body between Zane's legs, unnoticed. Zane's tongue is now sticking out and his shoulders are hunched in concentration. "You stuck already?" I dart a look at McMurphy to get ready to make his move. He throws me a disconcerting wink. "It's not that hard, just the one about the archetypal counterpart to Yan D. Ray." "Oh yes, that's quite niche. Thanks for that one, Kibbles." While I engage Zane, I can see that McMurphy has already reached up, as though stretching against the chair, and nudged his nose into the inside breast pocket of the jacket. "Oi! Shoo! Get out of it!" I see McMurphy scamper off and my heart sinks. "Anyway, I'll check back later, see how you're getting on with it." Zane grunts in response. I walk back dejectedly to where McMurphy and I had agreed to meet after our mission was over, and suddenly my spirits lift at the sight of a little pink corner peeking out from under the designated rock. "Great! McMurphy, you're a star. Oh, there's no end to my talents." I snatch up the envelopes, say goodbye to McMurphy, and head to the privacy of my tent. I examine my trophy while the kettle boils. I'm touched by the pretty pink envelope and delicate fragrance and feel suddenly embarrassed. Am I prying into the professor's love life? What has gotten into me? Getting notions of secret goings-on and subterfuge. I'm about to put the letter back when I'm overwhelmed by curiosity. I wonder who the professor's secret love could be. What are they like? Woman? Man? Other? Before I can contain myself, I've seen to open the flap and I'm peeking inside. It's not at all what I expect, and my previous suspicions come flooding back. This paper is in stark contrast to the pretty pink wrapping. It is a typed message on white paper. "Percival, I have been informed of your latest subject. I would rather hear about such things from you personally. It would not be wise to take my silence for authorization. Please keep in mind for future transactions. I will let this indiscretion slide, but if it is ever repeated, I will have no choice but have to deal with you the way I dealt with 124. So, we're 120... Oh. Is 124 the girl or the guy that we were before? As for the project case study number 6 is aesthetic. Please act accordingly. PIO3 has been unsuccessful. Void any further investigation. Lab 09 has received the newest batch. Protocol to begin on the 8th. Finally, I trust your new assistant has arrived and is proving to be more helpful than the previous one. We seem to have had a run of bad luck in that particular area. As you know, I do not abide bad luck and will expect a reversal of fortune post-haste. Faithfully yours, 7. Huh. Very curious. Oh. Oh, we gotta take a nap. Alright. Probably gonna be our cat nap. Cat hallucination. I sit in the position Professor Popper taught me. Meditating. My fur prickles at the sea breeze. My ears twist at the distant sounds of feet on wood and seagulls crying in another faraway place. The smell of the sea fills my nostrils. The taste of salt fills my mouth. I begin to focus on my breathing and the rhythm of my heartbeat, allowing my mind to drift. As I take a deep breath in, the tide comes creeping toward me, as though I'm pulling it. When it's just centimeters away from my bare toes, I slowly release my outward breath to a count of 5 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. With each beat, I push the tide back into the horizon until it's almost touching the rising sun. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Drifting now, without attachment to thought, my mind is free from worry and care. Alright, all that's left is 2 researches. We don't have 2 researches to do. What? How do we not have 2 researches? We did everything. Now we're feeding the kittens. The researches I'm not into reading, because it's like... Oh, Trixie. Very few of those kittens actually get released into the wild, Barry. What do you mean? Of course they do, as long as they're healthy. Oh, wow. And you know this, do you? You release them yourself? Well, no. But Professor Popper told me that the kittens get discharged at between 10 to 12 weeks. Oh, I see. Trixie smiles, but it looks fake. If I were you, I'd tag one of this litter. Oh no, they're too young for tagging. You have to wait until they're at least 12 weeks. That one over there, he looks very healthy. I'm sure if you tagged him, you'd be able to see for yourself what happens to the healthy kittens. Shit. As I go to answer, I hear the breakfast bell in the distance. Oh, Cinderella has to fly. And the calico cat is gone as quickly as she appeared. Come on then, kitties. Let's get back into your nice clean cage. I can't help but think about what Trixie said. She seemed genuinely concerned. There must be some basis for that. After all, she has been here a lot longer than me. Maybe tagging one of these kittens... Tag them, yeah. My hand has grabbed the chipping pen and I've tagged the plump gray male. Probably silly, but it won't harm you. And it could teach me something useful. Yeah, we got a new research. Alright. This is it. Yes, I'm ready. Oh yeah, so we are doing some research. Morning, Professor. I was expecting you. I'm not, I'm afraid. I'd rather in rather a hurry. I need to explain to you a new protocol I'd like you to carry out for me. What's this, milk? No, these are samples from our offshore lab. Samples of what? So many questions. Curiosity is a marvelous trait for a scientist. Now I want you to run some tests on these. I want you to check how they respond to contact with compounds 16, 18, and 24. Once you've done that, provided there are no complications, I need you to apply the sample to some of the cats and record the results. Apply the sample to the cats, Barry. We're looking for specific reactions. Of course, sir. But oughtn't I have a little more information before I start applying an untested product to a living subject? Look, Barry, I understand your concerns. Of course I do. However, once in a while, one has to trim the red tape, and this is one of those occasions. We're all alone. I just want to test and spend some time combining them with the sample. From what I could tell, the compounds are some kind of organic material. No one has told me where they come from or what they actually are. I look at them under the microscope one by one and add a little of the sample. It's a bit like glue, so it's hard to get it to combine, but once I do, something odd happens. The dead cells that make up the compound start to move excitedly. They aren't coming back to life exactly, but they are behaving like... Oh no, I have no idea what this stuff is or its intended use. Man, what are we gonna do? I mean, if we do it, do we get closer to a cure then? But the poor kitties! Where are we? Alright. Let's do random number generator then, I guess. Flip a coin. Alright, so we'll try this again. So heads will be the first one, so we'll refuse if it's heads, and if it's tails, we'll administer. So we're flipping the coin. Oh no, it was administer. Alright. One of the crates and retrieve Muffin, a slightly plump Purrfect. She starts purring as soon as I touch her. She's a little older than the other cats and loves the attention. I hope this stuff doesn't harm her. Alright, she's still purring. Nothing happened. Another good sign. I have faith that the flying blind goes against all of my training. Alright, I apply a little more to the back of her neck this time. I feel really uncomfortable doing this without any recommended dosage or guidelines. Flying blind goes against all of my training to date, but I have faith that the professor knows what he's doing. This is his project after all. After another 20 minutes, I don't notice anything physical, though Muffin does seem to be a little more energetic than usual. She's happily chasing my pen across the counter. I wrestle the pen out of her grip and make some notes of my observations and place her gently back in her crate. I decide to spend the night in the lab. I don't want to leave her alone just in case anything happens, but by 4 a.m. Muffin is sleeping soundly and I can't keep my eyes open any longer, so I head back to my tent. Whew. Thank goodness. Muffin. Poor little Muff. But she's alright. She's a little more lively now. Alright, well, shit. So we packed our bag. We wish we were staying. Make my way to a place where Floofy Butt and I have spent so much time together. I was hoping I would find him there, nosing through his collection of treasure and artifacts. The hollowed-out tree looks almost sad, neglected. I remain a safe distance to avoid the effects of the danger zone. But even this far, I get the feeling the Major hasn't been here for a while. I'm gutted. I wanted to say goodbye in person. Major, are you here? When I'm satisfied he's nowhere around, I take out the small pillow I made from one of my t-shirts. It doesn't seem a lot, but I put so much effort into making it. I've stitched our names and a little heart, and I drew some seagulls around the edges and stuffed it with catnip. I thought he might appreciate a bit of comfort with his advancing years. I only hope Snooty Booty doesn't get her claws into it. I place it at the foot of the mighty tree under a couple of palm leaves and make my way to the dock without— Shit, I'm gonna die again! Joe, the strange boy who runs the ferry with his dad Bob, is waiting on the jetty. You're almost late. I'm not in the mood for his nonsense today. But I'm not, though, am I, Joe? Almost late is not late. Something got your goat? No, I ignored him and make my way onto the boat. No, they're gonna kill me again. Then, just as we begin navigating our way out to open water, something on the land catches my eye. I can just make out the shape of a fluffy orange blob waving from the end of the jetty. Oh my goodness, I wave back frantically. Someone to come see you off? Yes, it's the Major. Bye, Major. It's been an adventure. I can't see no one. You going a bit mental? Just look, just there, the ball of orange, the tomcat. Joe's gone very quiet, and when I glance at him, he's eyeing me suspiciously. Shit! Oh my god, I'm so sad. Summit wrong, son. This one's sick. I don't understand. I'm fine. Bob appears from the driver's cabin. That's alright, son. You don't go take care of the steering wheel. Good lad. Joe does as he's told, leaving Bob and I face to face. Is there something wrong, Bob? I'm afraid there is. It's not personal. I happen to like you. He's reached into his pocket and is aiming something that looks like a pistol at me. I laugh nervously. This must be some kind of prank. It's just we can't have you going back to the mainland and infecting normal people, can we? Before I can answer, everything goes black. Damn it! We got killed again! How did I only have one successful date? God damn it! What time is it? Alright. I got time for one more. You know what?